going, everyone? JG Invest here. Cielo CMC update finally. A lot of people are asking questions about Cielo, what's going on, blah, blah. It was 161, then 140, 130, and now I think as of today it dropped to about the 107 mark. So there's a lot of things in the works with Cielo that I think a lot of people aren't getting. Like as far as fuel efficiency, they had a little bit of an issue that they're working with the university as far as like the sulfur content. I think they were trying to hit a certain number of like 15 parts per million. Tests are showing that it's about 5 per million. But there's a lot of big news coming up over the next couple of quarters. Now, what a lot of people aren't realizing is Cielo is essentially setting themselves up to be profitable very quickly without actually obtaining too many costs on development of the facilities. I think as far as right now, they have a joint venture of a total of 7 facilities. 3 were recent, and I believe there was 4 prior, or like 1 is their main one, then 3 joint venture plus another 3 on top. Now, a couple of things that that people are not understanding is it's not costing Cielo anything to build these facilities through the joint ventures. Now, I think of the most recent 3, one of them is actually a location in the US undisclosed. And in my previous video, I mentioned that they had the patent through Canada, and they were in the works of finishing the patent for US. To my understanding, that they do have the patent for US now. Now, of those 3 facilities, one of them will be a US facility. So that's pretty big news with the fact that they have the patent. So there's a lot of things in works. They're not going to be paying to build these facilities. The only real run costs they're going to have is the actual production costs. So it's a huge factor. I believe their new facility, they're aiming to break ground in Q4. But where things get really exciting is around like Q1, Q2 of 2022. I think it's their Edmonton facility is going to be coming up. And I wrote down a few numbers here. I think Edmonton should be doing about 55 million per year in revenue, just that facility alone. Now, the biggest catalyst is Cielo is expected to generate a certain amount of liters per hour for these joint ventures to go through. Now, with the facilities they have in place and some development of I think one other facility, they're aiming to hit about 1,000 liters an hour of production over a 24-hour period. I think in order to finish off and close these joint ventures, they only need to be generating 500 liters per hour in order to finalize these joint venture agreements. So it's a lot of big news. Now, some people did bring a lot of concerns about the insider selling. The CEO and president still has 20 million shares. And I believe he sold off, I think it was like 200,000 or something along those lines. Now, what a lot of people don't realize is the fact that during that time frame, their loan that they applied for with 0% interest over a 12-month span was $1 million, and it went up to 10 million. Now, personally, I believe those shares were just to show proof of liquid, so cash flow. You need a certain amount of cash flow when getting approved for a certain amount of loans, also depending on the size of these loans. So 10 million is no joke. So I'm assuming the small amount of shares that were inside selling were in order to acquire that loan. Now, the good news and good signs about that increased size loan means that they really want to ramp up production on facilities. The majority of the funds went towards paying off their debt, which they did. I believe, what was it? It was like $250,000 in Canadian dollars that they paid off. There's a few other things here. I think the other one was like 500,000, 750,000. All of that's paid off. and I received the newsletter from Cielo stating that they paid that off. So not only did they pay off all that debt, not only are the facilities joint venture that aren't costing them anything, but the Edmonton facility alone is going to be bringing in about 55 million annually. Now, if we go down to it, I know they had a recent sale of like 60,000 liters. So again, it's just showing that people are purchasing the product. 60,000 liters is not a ton, but it was paid in full. Plus, they have the additional 600 liters that are coming up, I think, 4 months from now. I think the deal was done 2 months ago. If not, it's 5 months from now. So that's the re-up contract of the 900,000 liters that they did initially. Few things. I mean, overall, there's claims that the product itself, in comparison to regular biodiesel, is better. It's more weathered for temperature. It won't be affected as easily. Those are all great signs, but my main catalyst and my main focus as to why Cielo is such a good deal is the fact that all these facilities are a joint venture. It's not costing them anything. They're debt free. As far as like the recent debts where Edmonton loan is going to be generating 55 million annually is the expected target. And in order to close all these joint venture agreements for the facilities, all they have to do is essentially produce 500 liters per hour. And they were already I think it was the June article they released, that they're expected to do 1,000. So all in all, things are really looking up. So recommendation as far as it goes is right around like this price range of like $1.10, $1.07. I don't think we're going to be seeing prices like this again. All it's going to take is one little bit of news to come out, or even Q4 breaking ground. I expect the stock to shoot up quite a bit. And then as far as the first 2 quarters of 2022, we're going to be expecting huge volume, huge growth, and the company's going to be heavily cash flow positive. So a lot of people have concerns about the price point. You know, it shot up to $1.61. It's now $1.07. What's going on with it? Blah blah blah. Listen, good news happens. A lot of people sold on the news, and a lot of people were expecting it to just run up again immediately after. That's not how it works. I'm very bullish on this. I understand that this is like a year hold, at least halfway through 2022 or longer. But all it's going to take is a little bit of this news to come out in order to show huge pops on this stock. So could we see a little bit more of a dip? Could we go down to $1? Yeah, it's potential. Would we go lower than $1? I highly doubt it. I actually don't expect CMC to go much lower than where it is now. Come June is the expected target time frame to break ground, is what they were hoping for. And I don't see a reason as to why it wouldn't happen. Worst case scenario, could be a little bit later. But I know they are trying to ramp up a lot of things, because production is the joint ventures for the facilities are heavily focused on production of liters. That being said, they are upgrading their primary facility as well to increase production. So just those 2 catalysts alone should have huge benefits very short term. Now, keep in mind that this is not a steady growth stock. This is a fairly new company, just started doing sales. The hardest part about being a long investor is putting up with the nonsense of these little swings up and down, and a small amount of insider selling in order to obtain massive loans at 0% interest. Keep in mind, it's not a stock where you're going to see steady growth day after day after day, but when good news does come out, it's going to pop, and it's going to pop big. So, as the title is going to say, I'm pretty sure that we're not going to be seeing pricing like this again. We might see another small dip. I actually ended up filling up more today, around that $1.07 mark. Luckily, with the crazy news and Powell speaking today, every stock went down, and it created buying opportunity for a lot of positions. Cielo was a position where I didn't think we were going to see lower than $1.12 again, so I took advantage of that. So yeah, facilities are coming up over the next 3 quarters. It's big news. Take advantage of the price point right now. Don't be worried about that insider selling. I had a couple of comments before about it. If you just took 2 minutes to connect the dots, you'd figure out that it was to obtain the loan and to pay off some debt and things like that. With 20 million shares still in the pocket, I doubt we have to be too worried. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is the fact that the U.S. patent is done, and one of the new joint ventures are actually a U.S. location, which is huge. So yeah, expecting big things over the next 6 months out of this. I can see over May or June to see decent pops. We might get back to that like $1.30 range, $1.40 range. But early 2020 is where we're going to see accelerated growth, especially with showing what kind of earnings they're bringing in. And just having that cash flow positive of the next 5 months of the other 600 liters is going to be a nice little bonus. So yeah, take advantage of the price point. Make sure you subscribe. I think 70% of you are viewers but haven't subscribed yet. Hit the like button for me, and I'll be doing another update. And then I post weekly as well about current positions and where we're at and what our target strategy is. So yeah, see you in a couple of days.